Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone. The early bird gets the worm today. I'm on time today. Well, close enough anyway. Close enough to being on time. 8:05 almost, a kickoff. Happy Friday to you, Alison, and the rest of you guys. Thanks for joining. As always, great to see the regulars jumping on today. Fantastic to have you here. As always, welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Friday, the 17th of September. Nice haircut. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I was getting a bit woolly, Aaron. Got myself a quick haircut yesterday. Usually takes a few days to settle into my scone, but there you go. Thanks, mate. What's been going on? How are you guys out there for a Friday? It's always nice to get to the end of the week, isn't it? Look back and see what we've achieved in the week, and maybe look forward to a little bit of R&R on the weekend. That's certainly me. Last few weekends I've been driving and chasing kids around all around the country. So I think I'm going to have a quiet one this weekend, but there you go. Anyway, good to see all of you guys here. Fantastic. Yep, having an RDO. That's the way, Shauno. Good to see, mate. Good to see. You got to have some rest, folks, because you get better, you recuperate, you get fitter, stronger, faster, smarter, happier when you have a rest day. That's for sure. Sometimes you got to hustle, sometimes you got to rest. Anyway, we're not here to talk about rest days. We're here talking about property investing, aren't we? That's what we do. Anyone who's new, anybody who's new, welcome. Like it says on the screen, my name is Jason Whitten, and been property investing over 20 years and helping property investors across Australia and New Zealand make sense of their strategies, their actions, their activities, their decisions when it comes to property investing. Myself and Sam Saggers through our coaching and mentoring program. Done a few deals, actually. I think it depends on which way you add it up, whether it's the total deals across Australia and New Zealand or the Aussie deals or whatever. It's over 7,000 property deals. Our clients get pretty active in the world of property investing. Along the way, we've learned a few things. Along the way, we've paid attention, and each day, if you're new, give me a shout in the chat, say good day. Tell us where you're coming in from. Each day, we get together, have a bit of a yarn about the idea of going the distance. This thing that we're doing is a marathon, not a sprint. We've got a catch cry around here: buy well, never sell. And part of the point is to create a passive income. Quick shout out and good morning to all of you guys. We've got Aaron, Nick, Laura, Sean, Danny, Michelle, Devinda, James, Teresa. G'day and good morning to all of you guys. Great to see you here. A passive income. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about that and what that looks like. So let's dive into it. Who on the chat, tell me, would you be keen on a $220,000 passive income? Let me know in the chat. And not only a $220,000 passive income, but more importantly, the catch cry today, a tax-free passive income in the future. Anyone up for that? Anyone like the idea of their apples when it comes to our outcome when we travel along and try and achieve something when it comes to our 15 or 20 year journey? Hell yes please. That's what I want to hear. Great to see. I guess so. If you twist my arm, well, there you go, Nick. Let's twist it a little bit. And this is what we can do, team, especially tax-free. Exactly, Jacinta. We do contribute significantly over a 40, 50, 60-year time frame, significantly to the economy. Why not? Why not? And the reality is, folks, we do have the ability. There is the opportunity for you as an investor to position yourself economically, financially, so you can take advantage of the rules that are there right now. These things I'm going to talk to you about today are completely 100% doable in today's tax environment. They may change, but they're not going to change differently, like drastically. So let's have a chat about what that looks like. But what I wanted to sort of say as we kick off is the idea that when we buy assets and we have to own them somewhere is about this long-term plan. Where we are today and where we want to be in the future, the ownership of those assets, how we own them, dictates the tax treatment of the assets we own. So tell me right now in the chat, how can we own assets, team? Real estate, shares, businesses, whatever it is. What is the common structures or common ownership methods in real estate? Chuck it in the chat for me if you want to sort of, get a little bit engaged in the conversation this morning. How can we own them? There's three main recognizable ownership functions, and it's broad as we go. So Annie said you can own stuff, whatever it is. You can own stuff in your super, and I think super's pretty super. Is that how you do a Superman thing? Which is cool. So super for sure. You can own it in your personal names. So let's do the little icon over here. Person, that's how I donate. People, you can own it in your personal names. And what's the other way you can own it? And Michelle's there, right on it. You can own those things, those assets, in often a company or a trust. So company, trust, and a combination sometimes of companies and trusts and stuff like that. So here's the three ways you can own stuff. And this is kind of overview. There's more complicated ways, team, to drill into it. But tell me right now, it's kind of a bit of an interactive workshop this morning. Tell me the tax thresholds. Where's the tax-free in these three? Tell me, team. Where's the tax-free in these entities? From an income point of view, we're not talking capital gains tax today. There's other conversations we have when it comes to capital gains tax. But where's the tax-free? And when we're looking at this picture, how do we get passive income? Where do we get income that's tax-free? So a couple of the team there jumping right onto super. And super is the major one, actually, at this point in time. You can have a certain dollar amount. At the moment, it's 1.7 million per person. And if you had a couple, you double that, 1.7 mil. After 65, or more accurately, Danny, when it's in retirement phase or income phase, you can get access to it a little bit earlier. And Michelle gets a gold star this morning. Michelle, personal, possibly. Tell me, team, what amount of money can you earn as an individual? What amount of money can you earn as an individual and pay no tax on it? Tell me right now, how much can you earn? Because did you know you can earn some money in your own name and pay no tax? But it's not a lot. Excuse me. It's not a lot of money. Could be if you have tax deductions. Absolutely, Nick. Tax deductions certainly help. Yep, there we go. Nick's on it. 18,200. Yeah, it's about 18 grand, $18,000 to $19,000. So think about this. Think of it if you have a couple here, team. You've got a couple, two people, and we're just going to round it up here. We're going to round it up. 20K and 20K each, tax-free. That's not bad. And certainly if you own a lot of If you own some real estate, you're going to get some tax deductions there. So this is the basis, team. This is the basis right now of income, tax-free income, and how you could receive those. What is the value? And people go, oh, shivers. Well, why would I ever set up a company or a trust? And, there's flexibility in companies and trusts for splitting incomes, okay? And that can help later on. But in the beginning, often this structure is not appropriate because of the cost prohibition. I don't even know if that's a real word. Cost prohibition of owning real estate in that as you go. Away you go. And there's Andy Fenton. Fenton's on today. And Fenton, I was just about to give you a shout out, my friend, on this one. And that was going to lead me into letting everybody know that Andy and I got a bit of a hangout this afternoon on wealth, wine, and wisdom. And there you go. It's not a word. My wife is telling me it's not a word. Oh, well, I've just made up a word, darling. There you go. Maybe we can get it added to the dictionary. Maybe not. And there you go. So Andy Fenton, my very good friend and partner in drinking wine and talking maybe a little bit of wisdom each Friday, is on the call today. And I had Andy come and have a chat to the coaches, and we are going to get Andy to come to Mentoring Team, our coaching and mentoring program for our private clients. Most of you guys on the call today are our private clients, and you're going to get a first-hand 1.5 hour deep dive on this concept with Andy Fenton sometime soon. We're trying to lock him down. Thanks, mate. Got my hair cut for the weekend. Going dancing this weekend. We shall see. So, team, there you go. You've got some stuff here, and $220K tax-free. So this is what Andy shared with us the other day, and we're going to deep dive into this idea where how you own some real estate can, if you do it properly, through the right structuring. And this is where financial planner, someone in that space, the 6-star team, absolutely is golden, all right? A couple can have up to $220,000 tax-free. But tell me, team, if 220K, let me just do this. If 220K might not be enough, who would like to know how to get 500, 700, $1 million tax-free? Would anyone like to know that? Chuck it in the chat for me right now if that would be something that you would be interested in. Because with real estate, or to be honest, with any assets, if it's able to be structured well enough, you can do something else in that sort of space. But tell me right now, would you like to know how to take the 220 and add another $200,000 a year? Maybe $300,000 a year? Let's have a look at what that might look like, okay? So, and this is kind of the little secret squirrel, depending on how you're set up with your portfolio. Let's take a look at the engine, the powerhouse of taking this from 200, let's say, to 400, okay? 400K. Oh, just got to be careful how I fit that on the screen. There we go. I'm trying to fit the whole thing on the screen. There we go. So, team, you guys know this one. Over our investment journey, we have our acquisition stage, our consolidation stage, and our lifestyle stage. At some point, we start purchasing our real estate. And let's say we get the acquisition done, which is awesome. And at some point, the marketplace rewards us for our patience and our ownership of that real estate, and rewards us with some growth over time. We got to be patient. You guys know this. This thing's a marathon, not a sprint. And so let's say we invested and we went from $3 million worth of deployment into real estate. And let's say over a 20-year period, that value went from $3 million to $8 million. Okay? Not inconceivable. Easily doubled in 20-year time. I think it would do a little bit more. So let's have a look at this. And let's say along the way, because it's not 30 years yet, let's say along the way, your debt on those properties was reduced by $2 million. So you have a debt of $1 million here. At some point, around about here, your loans kicked from interest only to principal and interest and started to pay themselves off a bit. Everyone following along? Right here is a gap of opportunity of what we all commonly know, is equity. So if we do the math here, we have $7 million worth of equity. $7 million. $7 million of equity. Now, that's a nice number. It's a great number on paper. Tell me, folks, would any of you guys like $7 million of equity just sitting there in your portfolio? That'd be kind of nice, right? The challenge that I find, and I've met a lot of wealthy people in this way, often that equity has got low to no rent, but you guys, all of us, will have some rent coming from that equity, but still it is equity underutilized, undervalued, underdeployed. So here's the drill. If you want to take your passive income from 220 to whatever you want and you want it tax-free, you can start to use some of this equity. Now tell me right now, I've seen a lot of people use equity for buying another property. And let's say you retire at 60 and on average you're going to live to 100, okay? If you're going to live to 100, what would it take? And this is rough math, done with a calculator. You could consume $175,000 of that $7 million of equity every year, tax-free, and live to 100. But we won't consume $175,000 of it tax-free every year. What we will do is we'll consume a portion of it, usually between 1 to 3% maximum of the total portfolio value. Or what I like to do is I like to say 25% of the gain in that year. Okay? So let's say our properties went up $1 million. If the properties went up in value $1 million, how much money could you take out if you could get access to that via an equity loan? Is another $250,000. So, but what happens if your properties don't go up? Well, you don't take the money that year, okay? The properties are still on principal and interest payments. They're still paying themselves off. They're recycling that debt. They're still making payments down. There's still value going up. But tell me, team, Andy, you're there on the call. Tell me, do I pay any tax if I use my equity? You can't claim it as a tax deduction. But do you pay any tax if you use your equity, folks? Put that one in the chat for me. Who's following along? Are you getting what I'm saying here? Or have I lost you? What do you guys think? Because what can happen is your equity is, no, you don't pay any tax, team. If you use equity wisely, you don't pay tax. And this is the thing, because one of the major reasons buy well, never sell, team, is if you do sell, you've got to add back all these things. You've got to add back the depreciation that you claimed. Selling makes no sense. You capitalize and away you go. And Andy, yes, you do pay interest. But Andy, as you get the bigger gap, as the gap grows between your values and your debt, imagine where the rent is at this point, Annie, okay? And the rent on the properties is now accelerating and paying large chunks of that principal off and reducing that principal as you go forward. When you do the math, team, we launched a passive income calculator the other day. You guys might have seen it. This is how you do it. You get to that point, and Andy's going to come to mentoring and talk us through how to get us to the point where we can create a $220,000 passive income tax-free. And then on top of that, depending on your equity and your positions, you can then start to incrementally use some of the value and wealth that you've created to do a little bit more as we go. Wayne said, what LVR should you get to before doing this? Wayne, I'm a big fan of being well under 50% loan-to-value ratio, well under 50%. Between 30 and 50% is the ratio, the LVR ratio on that one, okay? And Christian, yeah, you still need to service the debt and all those things for sure. Just remember, team, as your wealth and your properties and your other interests grow in value, so do your rents, okay? So do your rents. So do your rents. And you enter a new world when it comes to the access to financing and outcomes as you go. No, you don't have to be employed, Christian. And that's the good thing. That's the good thing. A good question, Christian. Like, do I have to stay in a job forever? Christian, the answer is no. The answer is no. You enter a new realm, team, when your wealth, your personal wealth, goes beyond what having a job is needed for when it comes to lending. Okay, it's a whole new kettle of fish. Christian, it's called asset lending, and it's certainly something that, as a PAYG owner of a home and a couple of investment properties, you will never get exposure to. And this is where, when you've got quite large amounts of equity and value, is where you enter a new realm when it comes to private and personal lending as we go. So great questions, Christian. It's certainly not what a finance broker, a regular finance broker off the street, is going to get you as you roll. But that's how you do it, team. You've got some different access as your wealth grows, different access to different products and different services when it comes to the lending world. And that's how the wealthy and the rich do it, team. Like, that's how the wealthy and the rich do it. But Wayne is on it. Absolutely, Wayne. In the beginning, in the acquisition stage, team, you've got to have a job. You've got to have a job. You've got to hustle. You've got to get your income up. It's that first 10 to 15 years of focus that sets you up for all of this stuff later on. There you go. All good, all good. Well, it's a bit late now. It's 8:30. I rabbited on a little bit this morning, but I thought that one would be fun. Bit of a shout out. Come join us this afternoon. Andy and I got Wealth, Wine and Wisdom. I think he's gone now. He had to go. go to work, and there you go. So, team, into the future, how you set yourself up now really is the lesson. How you set yourself up today gives you the opportunity in the future to go for it. Oh, James, nice work, man. That little Ascot Flemington one, I think, is going to be a cracker as you go. Chris, I'm pretty sure the replays will be up pretty well straight after this, mate, in either YouTube or Facebook. YouTube, Positive Mentor and Positive Real Estate, and then the Positive Real Estate page and Facebook. All right, team, you guys are awesome. Remember, join us this afternoon if you've got time at 5 o'clock for Wealth, Wine and Wisdom. Andy and myself debrief the week, equities and real estate. And for all of you guys in mentoring and coaching, just know in about 2 to 4 weeks' time, we're going to get Andy on to take us through this very thing, to structure us well as we go. All right, team, that's it from me. You guys are awesome. Thanks for joining me for a Wealth Coffee Chat. Join me next week for another Wealth Coffee Chat around about the same time, 8:05, and hang out tonight for a little wine and maybe some wisdom at around about 5 o'clock. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Take